let's see, Sorber Kosh family. Welcome to the share chair. This is cool. So, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we have Jennifer and her daughters, McCullough and Macy, who are students at Spring Lake, obviously.
Yeah.
And McCullough, you're a senior.
Yes.
And Macy, you're a junior.
Yep. 13 months apart.
Oh, boy.
We're really, really close, the three of us. It's
Yeah.
like the three musketeers.
Yes.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And you have been, are still, have dealt, is it done? Or Jen, where are you in the process?
It is, as far as the cancer part,
Yeah.
that's done. I do have one more, I like to call it my final surgery, which is next Wednesday. But that's just for the reconstruction part of it. So, again, a single mom with two daughters and managing two Snap Fitness, so working full-time. Probably looking back, and this was, I'll bring it back to October 2013. So just had completed that summer, trained for Tough Mudder, probably physically in the best shape of my life. Had just done that. I'd also done, like, I think it was a 100-mile bike run. So again, physically, I just felt like I was in the best shape of my life. And I've always really, for the most part, been a pretty healthy eater. I would have to say, if there were anything, definitely a very busy mom, obviously, because two very active daughters, working full-time. So as far as stress level, yeah, there was definitely, I just lived a very busy life. I was doing a self-examination and I found a lump. It was hard. It wasn't like in the past where it felt lumpier or a little softness. To me, it felt hard, and it felt like if I had probably like the size of a nickel. Did the mammogram came back negative. I was so thankful. Okay, this is crazy. In the same time that I had felt that, I started feeling super fatigued, like just beyond what I am a kind of like the ever ready bunny, man. I am just go, go, go. But I'm still concerned because I am super fatigued. And another thing started happening. I started getting really sharp pains underneath. The lump was on the right side underneath my armpit. And it might happen once a day. It might skip a few days and then happen a couple days. It wasn't super frequent, but enough that the pain was so excruciating and so sharp that it would almost bring me to my knees. And she said, I think I want to do an ultrasound just to be sure. So she brings this machine over, and probably within, it seemed like about 5 seconds, I'm sure it was longer than that, but it seemed very quick, that she said, do you have somebody with you today? And I said, I do. And she said, I would like to bring him back. So I knew at that point they weren't going to share something probably too favorable. So she brought him back, and she said, I just want you to know that I thought we were going to be able to drain this. She said, this seems to be a hard mass. And she said, you have a 50-50 chance of having cancer. And I just remember my bottom lip just kind of starting to quiver, and just being in shock. Like, wait, throughout this whole process, it's never been anger. That has definitely never been anything that I felt. More of just shock, sadness, scared. Yeah, that was the initial. She said, you'll be getting a call at about 5 o'clock. And she said, if it's the doctor calling you, she said, this was the nurse. She said, we don't typically like to be the ones that give the bad news. So if it's the doctor, then most likely, however she said it. But basically, I knew that I didn't want the phone call from the doctor.
Yeah, that's why they
So
did that.
exactly. So then what happened was I did share with the girls that I did end up needing a biopsy, and that I had scheduled it so that their dad would pick them up from school on Monday.
Yeah, I remember all that.
Yes.
And the
Yeah,
Monday
see, me
and the
too.
5 o'clock thing.
Yes,
And
yeah.
like we like was our
Good.
situation like we don't go with our dads on Mondays, like so like that was like we like knew something, like we knew we had to go with him for like a reason.
She
Cancer.
said cancer, and I just handed the phone to John. And John and I had said beforehand that I had a notepad ready and said, if by chance it is cancer, I would like, I wanted him to take the notes because I knew I wouldn't be able to hear anything other than cancer. That and then actually seeing the girls after find that out was probably the most, one of the most darkest moments. Yeah, I basically physically got on my knees and I just bawled my eyes out, yeah, on his kitchen floor and cried for probably 2 straight hours easily.
What was it like after you guys had been told that this was for sure cancer, coming to school and having to go through your normal schedule when something so huge had just impacted your life? Like, did you guys take days off or?
Okay, this is gonna sound really bad, but because it was my sophomore year, right? Okay, so I was old enough to where I should have been like, oh yeah, cancer, like this is a huge deal. I should probably be like really upset about it, but like I really thought it was super minor, and I didn't really take into the fact that I thought it was super like a big deal. I didn't think anything of it really. I kind of thought it was just, okay, it's here, it's gonna be gone soon. So I didn't really think about that part, so it was just kind of a regular routine, and then like surgery started happening, and then I would visit my mom and in like the hospital and stuff, and I stayed overnight with her a lot of the time, and we like got into trouble at hospitals. We ordered a lot of the room service with the foods, and then we would like, me, her, and John, one particular night, we went to, we would get bored there, because she wasn't like she was a regular patient, but she wasn't in the fact that she was still able to like move and stuff most of the time. So we were like getting bored, so we went and found this one room that had this, what's it called?
The micropodium?
No,
That
like
one?
what's the plant thing?
Oh,
The atrium.
atrium,
okay.
yes.
I was gonna
yes.
say aviary, but that's for birds. So it had an atrium next to it, and it was like a soothing room. But then there was a piano, and then there was over on this side like a stool with like a microphone. And so we figured out how to get the microphone to work. So we were like all presenting and giving presentations. And
We were
then
pretending, yes, that we
we
had
would-
some award.
then
Is
we
this
would like.
Grand Rapids? Are you in,
Yeah.
where are you?
So my
This one
initial
was, I think.
surgery was in Cleveland Clinic. Most of my start of everything was in Cleveland Clinic. And so that was difficult. And their dad was incredibly supportive with bringing the girls to the times that I had to be there. But all other treatments, my chemo, all other stuff relating to my plastic surgery is done in Grand Rapids.
We're so different how we like, took it
So
because
Macy, how about you?
I was like in the car and like I was like Dad, I was like, what happened? So
Oh
like he
yeah, I forgot.
and so then I was when he asked, he was just kind of like da 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 da, and I was like, Dad, like what happened? He was like driving a little bit, like he wouldn't tell us for a little bit. Then we like got on like the main road out here, and like he told us, and I started bawling my eyes out. McCall's in the back, like nothing is wrong, and I was like bawling my eyes out, and I like texted. I just remember texting like my best friends. I was like, our mom has cancer. Like I texted Grace and Sarah that, and so they were like calling me like, Macy, are you okay? And I was like crying in the shower, like, and then I came to school the next day, and I started crying in school, of course, and did I tell you that? That was awful.
I was better, I felt more comfortable being bald than I did with wigs, so I just wanted to make sure they were okay with it.
So, how was that to have a bald mom?
I embraced it. I loved it. I was like, my mom is bald, and she's like rocking it because like everyone would be like, your mom is so beautiful, and I'm like, I know, like she's like rocking it being bald.
I
Like,
was playing soccer, and some of the varsity girls, they like told one of my friends, they were like, oh my gosh, who is that girl? Like she's so like pretty bald, like she's so beautiful. And then they told me, and I was like, well, that's my mom.
yeah, like
And,
there was like no embarrassment. At
I mean,
all.
she embraced it in a way too, where she like, there's a picture that surfaced on social media a little bit of her wearing a very bright pink rock star wig, and it resurfaced recently, I think.
Yeah, it did.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing
And
that
she
on
would send it
Facebook.
to-
My last chemo treatment, John dared me to wear this like rock star from right when I woke up till when I
end of
went
the
to
day.
bed at night. And throughout this whole journey, I had met other women going through cancer, and that pink rock star wig has been shipped to each one of them there for their last chemo treatment.
That's
But,
awesome.
Yeah.
And I remember looking forward to your GI Jen post, I think it
Oh,
was.
On her
thank
blog.
you.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens, thank you.
Was that, I remember on Facebook seeing it and then just reading it and how awesome it was. And
Oh, well, thank
did you start that? Can you
Yeah.
explain
Just,
that?
right.
So what happened was that I am not a blog writer by any means, no. Early on, I couldn't believe how many women that I would run into that were going through cancer. When they were diagnosed with this, that there was a lot of shame based around it, a lot of shame and embarrassment.
The way they looked?
Just the way they looked, that it had to do with their breast,
Oh my
that
goodness.
that it just like crushed me. Somebody had suggested to me, wow, it would be really great for you if you would be willing to share your story on a blog so that it could help other people. Initially, when I started chemo, they told me that after my first chemo session, that about 2 weeks after is when I would start losing my hair. 2 weeks goes by and I am still not losing my hair. So there's a 2% chance that you might not lose your hair. Because then our spring break's in April, so it was John, my stepson Riley, and his friend Dylan. And it was 2 days after I got into Florida, and I showered, and I looked down in the drain, and holy cow, there was like one huge handful of my hair. That was definitely another, I'd refer to it as a darker moment. I was ready. So John had brought his clippers just in case that happened. And honestly, looking back, it was such a blessing to have it be, because guys are like, all right, let's shave, let's get that off. Woohoo, we're girls. We'd be so much more emotional
Yeah.
about it. So they helped really with they were really cool about it. Like for them,
Yeah.
it was like an everyday shave kind of action.
Aw.
So they shaved it, and then it also helped with the fact that I was in Florida, so it's not like I really knew people there, so I could adjust to being bald. Beach, and because I was like, my head was like white.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, if I'm gonna rock this out, I probably should get it a little tan. So
Yeah.
of course you're putting the 50 on, and just did really funny things like took a water bottle and set it up on top to see if I could balance it. Well, as the day went, we had noticed this mom and her daughter near us, that they had been kind of watching us. Walked over to me and she said, I just want you to know I've been watching you throughout this day. And she said, before I came here, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And she said, because of you and going bald and being so bold and brave about it, she said, I want to do the same. And she just thanked me for that.
Little things like that, like little impacts and stories on your life. Do you guys have, like, not just one, but a single moment in regards to time, like, that something happened to you that just, like, made you feel positive or made you feel sad? Or,
I'm
like,
assuming regarding
yeah,
this.
during
Okay.
this journey. and-
Mace, you can go first.
Okay.
I have to think of mine.
Okay, one time that made me like, hey, this is like really sad. So like, I'm sorry, but like, it's not like a happy one. It's like a sad one.
That's totally
Okay,
fine.
but after I don't know what surgery it was, but it was one of them where she would have what we would call them her grenades, but like it was basically a drain, like a tube coming out from like the side of her boob, basically, and like it was like looked like a little grenade breast. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. A breast, and it like came out, and it was like a little grenade, and that's like what it looked like, and it just filled up with blood, like it was like, and so she would be like at home, and she'd be like, taking them out and like pouring them out and stuff, like, and that was, I remember going into, sorry, Paul. I remember going into the room because they were like, we need people that's going to help her change it. So they had to like teach us, so I had to like block off a part. And I was like, oh, it's like, I can do this. I was like, I'm going to help my mom. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I'm going to pull those out for her. And I like sat there and she's like, okay, so first you're going to pull it out. And like, I saw my mom like, okay, the first time it did hurt you a little bit, you have to admit, because you could like see her facial expressions, and it was like the most painful thing to watch. It hurt so bad to see how much pain you were in.
The main ones I really had thought that had impacted me, because there wasn't really like a specific moment, but just all the little moments, like spending the nights at the hospital with her, or like helping her when she was at home with like the little things, or story of like the girl that she had helped out. They all, I think, just helped. Well, I think it all overall helped me become closer to her. And I only have like a few close friends, but I definitely think my mom's one of my closest friends. And it's not that type of relationship where like she's my best friend and she like, I'm like a trouble child where like she lets me do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
And now we like go on little trips together, and she like has helped me a lot with what I want to do when I'm older, and like she's put a lot into me, and like yeah, I don't know, and it's just helped me, I think, become a kinder person, and it's actually helped me become closer to God, and it's helped me with my faith, and it's just helped me, like, I think, mature. Like, I feel a lot more mature than I was, like, looking back from last year to now, I feel, or 2 years ago, or whenever it was, I feel, like, a ton more mature, and I'm just kind of, like, I want to get out of high school, like, now I look at life a lot differently. So,
I think that's probably the biggest thing, is it really changes your perspective on things. And I think in anything, whether it's breast cancer or anything that you're going through, it's how you react to it, how you respond to it, your perspective with it. And I think for us, yeah, it was definitely a shocker, but you're faced with a choice. I mean, you can throw a pity party and become a victim, or I had a lot to fight for. I mean, or you just embrace it and you look for blessings in it. And there were many, many blessings throughout the whole journey.
The overall process of this helped. I don't know if it's the same for Macy, but it definitely helped me mature a lot. And so then it helped me overcome, like, not as shy with my faith. And it's I don't know, it's overall helped with that too. And yeah, because now I just see it as, like, why would I care what other people think? Because it's like, in 1 year I'm going to be off in college, could be in a different state, could be somewhere where I probably won't see nearly anybody from my grades. It's like, why would I care what people who really I don't listen to their opinion anymore. And, like, now I find myself sticking up for certain things way more. And, like, I just feel like in that aspect, I don't know if it's the same for Macy, but I feel like, or my mom, but in that aspect I feel like I've grown a lot more with that because of going through the cancer and because of going through everything else too.
I think everyone, especially during high school, has one of those moments where you start to think, because high school is such a personal and very vulnerable time, and it's like you care so much about what people think, and whether it be way in the beginning or way in the end, you start to realize, like, hey, what you think about me does not matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Is there any advice? Like, it's a really broad question, but any advice that you guys would give high schoolers, moms?
It's just like having someone there to talk to about it, because I know sometimes for me at McCullough, like, at first she wasn't like the best person to talk to about it, because I feel like I couldn't talk to her about it because she didn't think it was that big of a deal, and I didn't want to talk to my mom about it to freak her out and like how worried I was. But so I just like, it would have been nice to talk to someone about it. I mean, I talked to my dad about it every once in a while, but I mean, it would like someone like my age who like understood. So I talked to my friends about it a lot, but I just like, it's just having someone to talk to is really nice. Just like being able to like tell them everything. And
my honest opinion is try to remain positive through it. This could go to the person dealing with cancer, or to the children of the person dealing with cancer, or to any family members, or just because they're going through this, it's really a time to be more helpful rather than, and this is going to sound harsh, but be more helpful than less helpful, because I tend to know people who could easily go off the wagon and live life as if you could possibly die any second.
It sounds morbid, but obviously we all are dying. We all are going to.
That passes,
Exactly. So it's really, I use this word a lot at our household, intentional, being intentional about the way you live and you love. It's so true, and I think that's what McCullough means by just, we're not promised today. I mean, and in the outcome, if I would have not made it through this, I mean, I had said I lived a great life. Of course, that's not what you want to happen, but I don't know, we really are not promised today, and so it's how do we really need to treat every day as the beautiful gift that it really is. All I know for me and our family and our journey and this journey is that we can only go forward. And
Thank you guys so much for being here.
Oh,
This
my
was
heavens.
so
Yeah.
inspirational.
Oh my heavens, thank
What a
you
great
so
episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Share Chair. Stay tuned next week for a new episode.